Hello and welcome to Estuary TV News with me, James Dunn. In tonight's show, Making Science Fun, a local company, is nominated for multiple awards. And some high adrenaline stuff for our guest today, trying to raise awareness about a rare cancer. But first, here's Richard Morris with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, Martin Vickers has said that our area is not being fairly represented by Rail North, and 1/3 of children think that fish fingers are an edible food direct from the sea. Cleethorpes' MP says this area is not being fairly represented by Rail North, the franchise of local authorities set up to defend trim services in the north of England. Martin Vickers made the comment after Monday's meeting in Westminster, where representatives, including North East Lincolnshire Council's leader, put their case for maintaining the direct Cleethorpes to Manchester service to politicians. Also present were train operators and Rail North, and Martin Vickers said it quickly became clear that the only organisation representing the interests of the big cities and is not defending services for North and North East Lincolnshire. He added that he thinks our interests will be better represented by a democratically elected rail minister. Scunthorpe Hospital's Ward 17 reopened on Monday evening after an outbreak of diarrhoea and vomiting hit the ward. The ward was deep cleaned before being open to new admissions once again in the evening. Ward 16 has remained closed to any new patients for the time being. The outbreak was confirmed as that of the norovirus. Once again, the hospital are urging visitors and staff who have had the symptoms to wait until they have passed for 48 hours before coming to the hospital. Official statistics show that more than 156,000 children across the region aged from 4 to 7 will benefit from the government's expansion of free school meals to all infants. Of these, almost 4,000 are currently living in poverty. The Children's Society says that this shows that these children will see the greatest benefit from the free school meals changes. The charity is pleased with the step, but has pointed out that nearly 500,000 children who live in poverty still miss out on free school meals because their parents work no matter how little they earn. Do you know what goes into your plate of fish? Apparently, a high number of young children across the country are not aware of the different species of fish which are edible. 1/3 of children named fish fingers as an edible seafood, ahead of haddock and prawns. More children label clownfish than mackerel. The sustainable species, pollock and coley, failed to feature on the list of answers provided by children at all. The research was carried out by Seafish, and we spoke to their chief executive to find out what he thinks of the results.
We're talking about small kids here, so is it a problem that they're not sure on these things? Intrinsically, no. What it's worrying, or the indication that it's worrying, is that it's a kind of signal that maybe kids now are losing a little bit of touch with where food comes from, what food really is. If you can look at something like a fish finger and think that that's some kind of a wild animal, there's a huge disconnect there. And so, does it worry me that kids have heard of cod and haddock but not of coley and pollock? In itself, not that much. But it is a signal of losing touch with understanding food. So where we would like to get to, from Seafish point of view, is just that kids have more of a feel for where the seafood comes from, the fish species that there are, and maybe then as they grow, enough interest to get engaged with other species and exploring the huge variety of seafood we have in the UK.
Now, you may have heard of the Ice Bucket Challenge. Well, councillors in North East Lincolnshire recently took part in the charity fundraiser. The internet craze means that people must donate money to a charity and then pour ice water over themselves, sharing the video with friends and nominating others to do the same. Councillor Hazel Chase had a particularly amusing reaction to the challenge.
3, 2, 1.
And finally, in sport, Hull City were the busiest Premier League club on transfer deadline day. The Tigers brought in Uruguayan striker Abel Hernandez for a reported record fee of between 9 and 10 million. Manager Steve Bruce also got Mohamed Diame from West Ham for an undisclosed fee and secured loan spells for Southampton's Gaston Ramirez and Hatem Ben Arfa from Newcastle. That's all from me for now, and we'll be back with more news soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, Richard. Now, when it comes to children's parties, most of us think of soft plays and bouncy castles. But how about a science workshop? Well, that's what an experimental company in Hull is doing, and you might say it's getting quite a reaction. They've been nominated for multiple awards and are already thinking of expansion. Reporter Dave Nunn went to find out more about the Lab Rascals.
Are you bored with traditional children's parties? Then how about something that's fun and educational for the kids? That's exactly what one budding entrepreneur and PhD student from Hull University has come up with through her company Lab Rascals.
Lab Rascals is a scientific entertainment company, so I do science parties mainly, so I go into people's homes, I do a range of different hands-on experiments, which I'm going to show you a few later on. I also do a lot of children's workshops in schools and children's centres, all that kind of thing. So we go in and we do workshops on source liquids and gases, and then we do things on genetics. I've just done a new one on how the human eye works and the visual spectrum. So we're looking at a broad range of different scientific subjects, all hands-on there. We don't do any textbook learning, it's all interactive to keep children, basically engaged and inspire them more into science.
Katie was inspired to found Lab Rascals through her love and studies of chemistry and her desire to set up her own business. Success has been coming thick and fast for Katie, who says that her parties and school visits have been extremely well received.
Well, over the past year I've done at least 30 parties, if not more. I've done plenty of children's groups and lots of schools as well, primary and secondary. So it's been really successful the past year, and I will be taking on a few interns next year because I'm starting to struggle with the high demand I'm getting. And that many parents were inquiring it, go, oh, will you come in and do a party for my son or my daughter, or will you come to our children's centre, and all that kind of thing. I just thought, well, to be honest, there's a demand there and parents are requesting it, and it's something different. Obviously a lot of the parties are bouncy castles or clowns or magicians and all that thing, and the amount of parties I've done where people have gone, oh, I'm sick of going to soft play centres, and it's something different. The kids can pick their activities, it's no set programme, it's all that kind of thing. So
the good reception doesn't stop there. Lab Rascals has also experienced success on a larger stage by being nominated for national awards. Recently, the company was a finalist in the Great British Entrepreneurship Awards and won the Shell Live Grand Ideas Award. And the awards will keep coming.
I've just been nominated for the Lawyers Business Bank Award, which is a UK-wide award, and I've just been shortlisted, so I have to go and do a pitch and tell people about my business and how that's running. And I'll also have to go compete against a lot of other people from different regions, and if I get through that stage, I get to go to London. Sorry, it's Birmingham next to the grand finals, and then it's London for the actual awards. So it's a three-step process, but at least I got through the first stage. So that's a big achievement because it's a really, really competitive award to actually get nominated for and shortlisted.
The future is bright for Lab Rascals. With the awards the company has won and the demands for their services, Katie knows that Lab Rascals will continue to grow, expand and experience great success. David Nunn, Estuary TV News.
Now, next on the show, I have Jodie Huggett, who is looking forward to a skydive to raise awareness about a rare cancer. Hello, Jodie. Thank you very much for coming in.
Hi, James. Thanks for inviting me.
So, not only are you someone who's recovering from cancer, but you're also a local businesswoman. Tell me a little bit about what it is you do.
Well, I'm a director, or should I say a co-director, of a company in Binbrook who manufacture a renewable energy product that enhances self-consumption, and it's an award-winning product, and we're really proud of it. It's called the Emerson, so it works in tandem with all microgeneration systems.
And you've won all sorts of awards, haven't you?
Yes, local awards, and we're now nominated for national awards, and we're an employer of a lot of people in a rural area, so we're really proud of that.
Well, that's brilliant. I mean, it's interesting you talk about your job, but we've talked about your story really, and you were saying that it was actually sort of in your office when you first realised that you might have a problem. You were doing something called the squat challenge, is that right?
We were following a Facebook challenge, and we thought that so many people spend so much time at the desk that we'd all try and do this challenge, which meant that we were doing squats exercises during the day, any time of the day, just as long as we counted up and had more and more squats each day.
I think we could probably do with doing that at Estuary as well.
Yeah, it was really good, and we were all involved at the team at 4Eco. We were all involved, but at one point I just ended up with a searing pain which just didn't go away. So obviously needed to investigate what was going on.
So you went to the doctors, and what did you find out when you went to the doctors?
Well, they just really couldn't understand what was going on, so they sent me for an ultrasound scan, and that came back clear. And they asked me if I'd like to either leave it, because the pain had gone away at that point, it lasted about a week, or did I want to sort of follow up with a consultant's appointment.
And you'd been given morphine, hadn't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So
I mean, I was crippled, absolutely crippled.
I'll assume you didn't leave it then.
No, I didn't. I went to see a consultant. And he did a sort of thorough examination of me, and I think he did. He felt a fairly reasonable sized tumour.
How big was it?
It was about 8 centimetres diameter. They say the size of an orange, so it was fairly substantial.
So I bet that was a shock.
Yes, yeah, a huge shock. And we were counting on the fact that there was a possibility it would be benign and we would be able to remove it with surgery, and that would be the end of it. So I kind of went in a little bit blasé, thinking, well, I'm only 39, I'm fit, I'm healthy, everything's going to be okay.
But this was obviously a rare cancer. What kind is it?
It's a neuroendocrine tumour, which is commonly known as a NET.
And so what's interesting is this has actually presented itself to you before, but with some quite unusual symptoms.
Yeah, the main symptoms for neuroendocrine tumours, NETs, are general IBS symptoms.
And that's irritable bowel syndrome.
Absolutely. So I think I'd been sort of seeing my own GP for in the region of 7 years.
Wow.
Having the usual sort of IBS style treatments.
Back and forth for all that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was fairly debilitating at times. And I was trying to manage it with my diet and trying to cut out various foods that I felt were trigger foods. But
so obviously you had treatment, didn't you? How are you doing? What happened?
Well, I'm doing really well. I'm really well. I had a laparotomy at local Castle Hill surgery, which was fantastic. Fairly invasive, couple of hours, 3 hour surgery, which was hugely successful. The team did a fantastic job. And then I eventually found a specialist centre in London called the Royal Free, who actually specialise in neuroendocrine tumours, and I've been under their care since February.
So you've now decided that you want to do this skydive, and obviously you're going to be raising money for the country's NET charity.
Yes.
But also for you, it's mainly about raising awareness, isn't it? Because you've been to that doctor back and forth for 7 years, and I suppose that was avoidable.
The NET Patient Foundation, which is a charity that we're supporting, I've met with them several times, and the biggest problem that anybody has with a NET or NET tumour is that people just aren't aware of the symptoms because they are so similar and present themselves in such a similar way as common problems like IBS. And the awareness really for me is GP awareness. And
you think that could lead to maybe faster diagnosis?
Absolutely. And if these tumours are situated in liver and pancreas, that the faster the diagnosis, the better the outcome, of course. And
finally, you want to raise money for this charity. I mean, this is a very rare cancer. A lot of money, a lot of funding for cancer goes to the same areas, doesn't it?
Yeah, the statistics are that 99% of government funding goes to cancer research for 4 of the major cancers, or the most commonly known cancers. Therefore, only 1% of the funding is coming to the rare and unusual cancers, such as NETs. But 54% of all cancers diagnosed are rare or unusual.
I see what you mean then. Are you looking forward to it?
Can't wait. Absolutely can't wait.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sorry we've actually run out of time, but it's great to hear your story, and I wish you all the best in the future. I'm sure you'll do well.
Thank you very much.
Now, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for on the show, but don't forget, if you've got any news for us, you can get in touch by calling us on Grimsby 315561. Find us on Facebook or Twitter, or email us on info@estuary.tv. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.